long time.
It has been a long time. So
It's been a really long time.
students are going to interact with a math genius from African continent.
Wow. That is so exciting.
Yeah. It seems like
Mm.
you are on car. I think you are going somewhere.
Yes, I am. I'm going to actually teach.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Wasting your time because we know that you are super busy math teacher, and I don't want to waste your single minute. So I would like to call one of my students to ask you the questions. So yes, Rohita.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. What about you, ma'am?
Pardon?
Okay.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. My name is Rohita.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, ma'am. What about you, ma'am?
I'm fine, thank you.
My name is Lohita Girija. I am studying 8th grade. My hobbies are reading books, playing games, watching TV, and dancing. My future ambition is to become an English teacher. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Ask the sum.
The sum of two consecutive odd numbers is 56. Find the numbers.
Okay, thank you for your question. Actually, I have those questions written down. That was the first question that you asked. I'm going to share the screen. Will they be able to see when I write? Sorry about that.
Yes, we can. You can share. You can share it.
Okay, I'm going to screen share.
Yeah, you can share it. Have you not asked the same question? Okay.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yes, we are able to.
Okay.
But not clear.
They can see.
It's still.
It's not clear.
It's not still visible. I think it's not visible.
Okay, let me check again. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Yes, can you see my screen?
Yes, exactly. We can see it.
Okay, now the first thing, you sent in questions and all of them were in line with linear equations. So let me quickly go through what an equation is. The picture you see over there is an equation. 3x plus 5 is equal to 20. Now, this entire picture you are seeing is what we call an equation. This whole thing you're seeing is what we call an equation. Now, that equation has what we call different parts. Now, the first part we'll look at is this number 3. The number that is in front of the variable is called the coefficient. It's called the coefficient. Now, the variable or the unknown or the letter, in this case, it is x, that is just besides the coefficient is what we call the variable or variable. Depending on your accent, you can call it a variable or a variable. Now, this entire part, the coefficient and the variable together is what we call the term. Now, when you have a number like 5 that doesn't have any variable on it, it's what we call the constant, because it will always be 5. It won't be affected by any letter. And then when you combine, but it is also a term anyway. Now, when you combine 3x plus 5, you get what we call an expression. You get what we call an expression. Now, when you equate an expression to a number or another equation or another expression is what we call an equation. So all of this is called an equation. This entire 3x plus 5 equals 20 is called an equation. I hope that part is clear. Now, going back to the question that you asked, I saved the questions here. The sum of two consecutive odd numbers. When they talk about odd numbers, because right now you need to know what's most important. Our most important item is odd numbers, okay? We know very well odd numbers are numbers that are not divisible by 2. So the first fact we have is that when you add those two consecutive numbers, when they talk about consecutive, they mean the numbers that follow each other in an order. So their sum is 56. So you come and extract out the information you've been given. That you have two numbers, so you can let the number be any letter of your choice. Say, we can say, let the number be n, okay? So you can let the number be n. We don't know what n is, but they're telling us that when you get n, and then you add it to n plus 2. Now, why am I adding n plus 2? I'm adding the 2 because they say they are consecutive odd numbers, meaning you have to skip the even number that is between them. That's why I add the 2. And then they tell us that it's equal to 56. So n plus 2 is equal to 56. So what they're trying to ask us is to find what n is and what n plus 2 is. Then we go straight ahead and solve, and we say n plus 2 is equal to 56. Now n plus n gives us 2n, then plus 2 is equal to 56. Okay, my screen is cracked a little bit. That's why the numbers are a bit of zigzag, but it's okay. Now, in algebra, whatever you do on the left-hand side, you must do on the right-hand side. So we are going to take away this 2, but when we take away the 2 here, we must do the same thing on the other side. So it will be 2n plus 2 minus 2 is equal to 56 minus 2. Whatever you do on the left, you must do on the right. Now 2 minus 2, this 2 minus 2 goes to 0. When you look at that, okay? So you'll have 2n is equal to 54. We want n, we don't want 2n, so we have to remove the 2. How do we remove the 2? We are going to divide both sides by 2. So we'll have 2n divided by 2 is equal to 54 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you remain with n. 54 divided by 2 is 27. Yes, 27. Yes. Now, our first number is 27. Now, the second number, remember, was n plus 2. Okay? So, 27 plus 2 will be 29. Now, every time you finish working out your number, you have to conclude. Okay? And you say, therefore, the two odd numbers are 27 and 29. And you conclude something like that. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
I am fine. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine, thank you.
My name is Navyasri. I am studying 8th grade. My hobbies are reading books and playing games. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, please.
What are those two numbers whose sum is 58 and difference is 28?
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me do the screen share again. I'm going to do the screen share again and then I respond to your question. Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
So your question is, I guess it's the, yes, it's the second question.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just tick this one that we've just finished. We have finished this one. What are those two numbers whose sum is 58? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
When
ma'am.
they say sum means a plus. And every time you're working out such numbers, you have to extract the most important information. Now they've told us the sum is 58, but we don't know these two numbers. So we can let those numbers be A and B. Okay. Then you say, let the two numbers be A and B, because we don't know what those numbers are. Okay. The sum, when you add A, sorry about that. When you add A and B, you must get 58. All right. Then you go back to your question. Your question says their difference is 28. That is the other detail you've been given. So the difference is A minus B is 28. So they're asking you to find what A and B is. Now, the easiest way to do this number, you can either add both equations or subtract them. Excuse me, but in this case, I'll choose to add. Now, when I add these two equations, remember, in algebra, you only add like terms. So you add A and A. This A here plus this A here. A plus A will give us 2A. Now, you go ahead to B. Now look here, you have B plus minus B, which becomes B minus B, and it's a 0. So it will be plus a 0, plus a 0. Then 28 plus 56. What do you get? 8 plus 8, you'll have a 6. Then you carry the 1 over. Then this will give you 86. Now you have a new equation, which is 2A is equal to 86. But we want to find A and B. We don't want 2A. So we have to eliminate the 2 by dividing both sides by the 2. In algebra, what you do on the right-hand side, you must do on the left-hand side. So you'll have 2A divided by 2 is equal to 86 divided by 2. So your A would be, if you divide 86 by 2, what do you get? Let me see, 43. Let me just write that one nicely. 43. Now you've found the first number. Now the second number, you're going to have to use any of these two equations. You can use A plus B is equal to 58, or A minus B is equal to 28. So I'll choose to use the first one. So I have A plus B is equal to 58. My A is 43, so I put the 43 there, plus B is equal to 58. And then remember what you do on the left-hand side, you must do on the right-hand side. So I can subtract 43 here, and then I subtract 43 here, and then I'll have B as 15. So you can test your answer. You add 43 and 15, you'll see it will give you 58. And then if you take away 15 from 43, you'll see that it gives you 28. So you conclude, don't forget to conclude. You conclude and say, therefore, excuse me, you say therefore, the two numbers are 43 and 15. And then that's how you conclude your number. I hope I've answered you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. What about you, ma'am?
Okay.
My name is Ram Lakshmi. I am studying 8th grade. My hobbies are reading books and playing games and watching TV. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Two complementary angles differ by 12 degrees. Find the angles.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so you've talked about two complementary angles whose difference is 12. The first thing you need to understand is what complementary angles are. Complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees, okay? They've told us, let me see, what else have they told us? The two complementary angles difference is 12, okay? So that means when you take away both those angles from each other, you'll get 12, okay? Now we don't know what those two angles are, so we can let the angle be any letter of your choice. I could say M. So we say let the angle be M, okay? I've chosen letter M. Now, one angle is M, and I've told us that when you minus the other angle, it will have to be 90 minus M. The other angle is 90 minus M, because remember, when you add this angle to this angle, you must get 90. Meaning if one angle is M, the second angle is going to be 90 minus M. But I've told us the difference of all these angles is equal to 12. Okay? Now we have to open brackets and simplify. Now we have M. Now this minus affects the signs of the terms. This minus here affects this minus. I guess you can see it. It affects the sign of this 90 and the sign of this M. This 90 is positive, it will become a negative. And this is a negative, it will become a positive. So it will be M minus 90 plus M is equal to 12. Okay. Collect like terms. M plus M gives us 2M. So you write 2M is equal to, 2M minus 90 is equal to 12. All right. Remember, what you do on the left-hand side, you must do on the right-hand side. We want M, we don't want the 90, so we have to remove it from the left-hand side. So it will be 2M minus 90 plus 90. Because now it's a minus 90, we'll have to add the 90 such that it goes to 0. Then is equal to 12 plus 90. Forgive my small screen. So you have 2m is equal to, if you add 90 and 12, you'll get, let me see, 2, 10. Yes. So divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. Your m will be 51. Now to get the other angle, it will be 90 minus 51. Okay. So the other angle will be 90 minus 51, which is 39. Yes. Yeah, 39, which is 39. So you conclude as usual and say, therefore, the complementary angles are 51 degrees and 39 degrees. Yes, that's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is it clear? You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. What about you?
I'm fine, thank you.
My name is Bhargavi. I'm studying 8th grade. My hobbies are reading books, playing games. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, please.
The difference between two numbers is 8. If 2 is added to the biggest number, the result will be the smallest number. Find the numbers.
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. I'm going to share the screen shortly. I'm just cleaning my board. Just a little second. Just cleaning my board quickly. Okay. Let's tick off the other question. So now the first thing they've told us is that the difference between two numbers is 8. Okay. We don't know those two numbers, but what we know that their difference is 8. So we start by letting the two numbers be equal to some letters we don't know. Okay. I'll choose, let me see, P and Q. Okay. Let the numbers be P and Q. Okay. Let the numbers be P and Q. Now, according to the question, the difference of those two numbers is P and Q. When you get the P and take away the Q, you must get 8. That's what we know so far. Then you go back to your question and read it. If 2 is added to the bigger number, you come back. If 2 is added to the bigger number, assuming P is the bigger number, and you add 2, you interpret your question step by step. The result will be 3 times the smaller number. The result will be 3 times the smaller number. Okay, so we have 2 equations there. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to write this equation in the format of this equation, in the format of P minus Q is equal to 8, meaning we have to bring the P, we have to bring this 3Q this side and take this to the other side, okay? And once a term crosses an equal sign, it changes. If it's a positive, it becomes a negative. If it's a negative, it becomes a positive. So we'll have, if we bring this 3q this side, it will become minus 3q. Excuse me. So we'll have p minus 3q is equal to, when we take this 2 on the other side, it will become a minus 2. So you have minus 2. You're going to get new equations. P minus Q is equal to 8. Then we have P minus 3Q is equal to negative 2. My screen is equal to negative 2. Okay. Now in this case, you work on these two equations the way we did for the first one. In this case, I am going to subtract because I want P to disappear. If you look at P minus P, it will become a 0. So it will be easy for me to work it out. So I'm going to subtract both equations. I subtract P minus P gives me 0. Minus Q minus minus 3. Now remember, a minus and a minus give us a positive. So it becomes minus Q. If I'm to do some bit of side work here, it will become minus Q plus 3Q. And this will be 2Q. All right. So we go back to our main equation. So this will be plus 2Q. 8 minus minus 2. The minus and the minus will become a plus. So you'll end up having 8 plus 2 giving you 10. Okay. So 2Q is equal to 10. You divide this side by 2, divide the other side by 2. Your Q will be 5. Okay. Now, if your Q is 5, you're going to use any of these two equations above. So you can use P minus Q is equal to 8, or you can use 2 plus P is equal to 3Q to find P. But I'll use P minus Q is equal to 8 to find P. So we'll have P minus Q is equal to 8. But remember, my Q is 5. So P minus 5 is equal to 8. So P minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 8 plus 5. What you do on the left-hand side, you must do on the right-hand side. So your P will be equal to 13. And you conclude, you say therefore the two numbers are, you conclude, you say, therefore the two numbers are 13 and 5. So that is it for that number.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, ma'am. My name is Dolmi Kanti. I am studying 8th grade. My hobbies are reading books and playing games. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
1 minute. So basically, here we have 9 minutes time is left in this session, but still we have a few questions left to be answered. So would you mind to reconnect once we, I mean, the 9 minutes time is completed? Shall we do it, or shall we do it some other time?
We can work out that question as the last one.
Okay, okay.
And then we do the rest of the questions another day.
Yeah, sure. I think that means will it be the last question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Carry on.
Okay.
Can I start, ma'am?
Hello, how are you?
Fine, ma'am. Can I start the question? The age of Rahul and Lakshmi are in the ratio 5:7. The age of 4 years later, the age of Rahul and Lakshmi. Sir, don't. But they forgot.
Okay.
The age of Rahul and Lakshmi are in the ratio 5:7. 4 years later, the sum of their ages will be 56 years. What are the present age?
Okay, thank you for that question. Let me share my screen. So you said the ages of Rahul and Lakshmi are in the ratio of 5:7, okay? The ratio is 5:7. What would be the total ratio? The total ratio would be 5 plus 7, giving you 12, okay? That's just a quick one. Let's go back to the question. The sum of their ages will be 56, 4 years later, okay? So in 4 years, assuming their real ages are, let me say P, okay? We could say 5, currently they are 5 out of 12 of P and 7 out of 12 of P at the moment, okay? But then they tell us 4 years later, meaning 5 out of 12 P plus 4, isn't it? Then plus 7 out of 12 P plus 4 will be 56. Okay, let me just type this one. Will be 56. Make it a bit bigger. Yes, so their sums will be 56. Now, if we open brackets and collect like terms, we are going to have 5 out of 12 P plus 7 out of 12 P plus 4 plus 4 is equal to 56. Okay, this is going to be 12 because if you add these two, if you add 5P out of 12 plus 7P out of 12, you'll get 12 out of 12. 12 out of 12P, then 4 plus 4 gives us 8 is equal to 56. The next, this 12 and 12 cancel. So you remain with P plus 8 is equal to 56. Okay. So we have P plus 8 equals to 56. Now, if you subtract both sides by 8, remember what you do on the left, you must do on the right. Okay. So P will be equal to, so if you subtract, if you remove 8 from 56, you'll have 48, as you can see there. So you have 48. So P is 48. What did the question want you to do? You go back to your question and check. Okay. The question said, what are their present ages? So they want you to find how old they are right now. Remember, right now, one is 5P out of 12. So this one's age will be 5 times 48. And then you divide by 12. This will give you, remember we have 48, then multiply 5, and then divide by 12. That is 20. So one will be 20 years old. Now the other one, remember, was 7p out of 12. So the other one will be 7 times 48 out of 12. Okay. So this will be 7 times 48, then divided by 12. That will be 28. Okay. Now you go back to your question and see whether it answers it. You have responded to the question rightly. They've told you that the difference, their ratio is 5 to 7, 20 to 28. The ratio is already 5 to 7 if you divide both by 4. And then in 4 years, their age will be 50. Their difference will be, sorry, their sum will be 56. Okay. We can try it and see. 20 plus 4 years. Then plus 28. 28 plus 4 years. This will give us 24. This will give us 32. When we add them, we'll get 56. Therefore, we have the answers we want. So you can conclude at that point and say, therefore, the two ages are the two ages are 20 and 28. And you conclude. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
So one more time. But what disappointed me actually, another school is waiting for you to interact with, and they have a few questions. But I am really sorry for the Dugrela boys, and sorry, actually this session is actually meant for my students. But definitely I will try next time to involve you, and exclusively I would like to organize a session involving you all, sir, actually. So
it's
yes.
okay, no problem.
Yeah. So yes, thank you so much one more time and for your valuable time. So would you like to give a message to my students? Just a minute. I think I have unmuted your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead. Only a few seconds left.
Okay, so thank you so much for listening to me. And I don't know if you got my name earlier, but I'm teacher Stella from Uganda, Creative Learning Africa, to be very specific. And stay safe, everyone. The COVID-19 is still out there. Stay safe, get vaccinated, and don't forget your books. Don't get discouraged.